Welcome back to the Business Book Club. Today we're embarking on a deep dive into, well, an absolutely essential guide for anyone who wants to sharpen their problem-solving edge. It's called Cracked It: How to Solve Big Problems and Sell Solutions, like Top Strategy Consultants by Bernard Garrette, Corey Phelps, and Olivier Sibony. Our mission really for this deep dive is to equip you with a systematic, logic-driven approach to tackling pretty much any challenge. Big business dilemmas, personal stuff. We want to help you cut through the complexity, arm you against those common pitfalls, and just help you approach problems with clarity and confidence.
Yeah, it's a really powerful book. It brilliantly merges these rigorous techniques from top consulting firms with insights from cognitive science and even design thinking.
Right.
It's a truly holistic way to think about a skill that we often just assume people have, but is rarely taught with this kind of precision.
Couldn't agree more. And for me, this whole journey starts with understanding how our own brains can sometimes kind of get in our way. The book kicks off with Daniel Kahneman's concept, the Nobel laureate, of two thinking modes. Fast, system one, and slow, system two. System one is our default, right? Automatic, intuitive. It relies on that what you see is all there is, WYSIAD, to quickly cook up a plausible story. Great for speed, but...
But it often leads us to jump to conclusions.
Exactly.
And the danger is that system two are slow, deliberate, logical thinking. Well, it's cognitively expensive.
It takes effort.
It takes real mental effort.
Yep.
So our brains, they prefer to just hand it off to system one.
Yeah.
We often spend way too little time truly defining a problem because our fast thinking says, oh, I already know the answer.
Like that Dell example from 2007 facing declining performance.
Spot on. The easy system one conclusion was blame the CEO, Kevin Rollins.
Yeah.
Fire him.
Quick fix.
Right. But a slower System 2 analysis would have uncovered this whole web of complex factors, industry shifts, supply chain issues, maybe even decisions made by previous execs. Jumping to that quick conclusion totally misses the root causes.
So this Othello-Hamlet dilemma they talk about, it's not just clever, it's a real warning, isn't it?
Absolutely.
True mastery lies in, disciplined action, avoiding both the impulsive Othello leap and the paralyzing Hamlet overthinking.
You want to be thorough like Hamlet, but decisive. Action-oriented like Othello, but without the impulsiveness.
And the book shows that a disciplined process is the key to finding that balance.
That tension is so real, though. How do you know when you're leaning too far one way? What are the signs you're about to pull in Othello?
Well, the book points to 5 common pitfalls where our thinking modes can trip us up. The very first one is flawed problem definition.
Okay.
Basically, defining the problem wrong from the get-go. You're almost guaranteed to get the wrong solution then. Focusing on symptoms, not the real cause.
Right. The music industry versus file sharing is such a classic example of this. The execs framed it as, how do we stop piracy?
Yeah, all resources went into legal battles, security.
But they completely missed the bigger, more useful question, didn't they? Which was more like, how can we make money now that technology is changing everything about music distribution?
Exactly. And Apple, with iTunes, answered that question much better because they reframed the problem entirely. The way you define it really sets the whole direction.
It really does, which kind of leads straight into the second pitfall. Solution confirmation.
Ah, confirmation bias.
Yep. Starting with a solution you like, and then only looking for evidence that backs it up. Ignoring anything that contradicts it, we just prefer to believe what we want to be true.
And that's human nature, I suppose.
The Grameen Danone yogurt venture in Bangladesh illustrates this powerfully. Noble goal fight malnutrition, but they started with their strengths.
Yeah.
Danone knew dairy, Grameen knew microfinance.
So they pushed a fortified yogurt solution.
Right, Shaktidoy, distributed by Shakti Ladies. But they overlooked crucial realities on the ground, like no refrigeration in rural areas.
A big problem for yogurt.
Huge, volatile milk prices, too. And parents saw yogurt as a treat, not a daily necessity. Other solutions, like that peanut butter-based food, ready-to-use therapeutic food, are UTF.
No refrigeration needed for that.
Exactly. But it was ignored because it didn't fit their initial dairy-focused solution.
Wow, that's a painful lesson in letting your existing tools dictate the path. And it connects directly to pitfall number 3, using the wrong framework.
The old, if all you have is a hammer.
Everything looks like a nail.
Yeah.
Using an inappropriate mental model dictates what you notice and, crucially, what you ignore.
How does your lens shape your reality? The book uses an example of Lisa, an HR director at Calco, facing high turnover.
Okay.
She was leaning towards a big HR data solution, using personality tests to predict who'd stay longer. The framework assumed personality was the key driver.
But was it?
Well, exit interviews showed something else entirely. Low pay, bad working conditions, poor management.
So the fancy data solution would have missed the point.
Completely. It would focus on hiring different personalities instead of fixing the actual systemic issues causing people to leave. Like the authors say, a way of seeing is also a way of not seeing. You have to choose your frameworks carefully.
Or they choose your solutions for you. That's a powerful thought. Okay, pitfall number 4, narrow framing.
This is when you see a complex new problem, but treat it like a simpler one you've solved before, just based on, superficial similarities.
Quick decisions, but maybe wrong ones.
Often disastrous ones. Look at JCPenney. They hired Ron Johnson, the guy celebrated for Apple's retail success.
Big hire, big expectations.
Huge. And he came in and applied the Apple playbook.
Yeah.
Everyday low prices, cool brand boutiques, got rid of all the discounts and coupons.
But JCPenney isn't Apple.
Not at all. He totally ignored the fundamental differences in customers. JCPenney shoppers loved those coupons. By narrowly framing it as make penny like Apple, he skipped testing, alienated the core customers.
And the results?
Catastrophic. $1 billion loss. And he was out pretty quickly. The lesson is stark. Don't let past wins blind you to present realities.
Wow. Okay, so even if you navigate all those pitfalls, define the problem well, avoid bias, choose the right framework, don't frame it too narrowly, there's still one more hurdle.
One last critical one, miscommunication.
So having the brilliant solution isn't enough.
Nope. Being right isn't enough. You have to convince people, the decision makers, to actually adopt your solution.
Persuasion matters.
Hugely. Think about the whole dietary fat versus sugar debate. For like 40 years, the consensus blamed fat for obesity, heart disease, largely pushed by Ansel Keys. Charismatic guy, simple story. Eating fat makes you fat. Persuasive, even with flawed methods.
And the sugar connection.
John Yudkin had the theory right, incriminating sugar. But his message was complex, poorly communicated. It got ignored for decades.
Until someone communicated it better.
Right. Much later, Robert Lustig's video, Sugar, The Bitter Truth, went viral. He used simple, striking messages, compelling metaphors. He sold the idea effectively. Being right is only half the battle.
Okay, so we've seen the traps, the ways our thinking can mislead us. But the book doesn't just leave us there, does it? It offers an antidote.
Exactly. The 4S method. State, structure, solve, and sell. It's a roadmap out of those pitfalls.
Let's start with the first S, state the problem. This feels foundational.
Absolutely crucial. The goal here is simple but hard. Define the core question accurately without jumping to solutions yet. And a key tool they offer is the TOSCA checklist. Yeah, it stands for trouble. What's the actual gap or opportunity? Like the music industry's trouble is declining sales, not just piracy. Owner who needs this solved, who judges the solution. Success criteria. What does success look like? Specifically, quantifiably. Constraints, the limits, strategic, financial, organizational, and actors, the key stakeholders whose goals you need to understand.
So it forces you to really pin down the specifics, and empathy seems key here too.
Definitely. Talking to stakeholders, doing those problem definition interviews is vital to really refine your understanding beyond your own perspective.
Okay, makes sense. So once you've stated the problem clearly, what's next? The second S, structure the problem.
Right. This is about breaking that big, messy problem down into manageable, logical chunks.
Yeah.
Two main tools here, the hypothesis pyramid and the issue tree.
Hypothesis pyramid? Sounds like you start with an answer.
Kind of. You start with a candidate solution, your leading hypothesis. Then you break it down into smaller sub-hypotheses that must be true for the main one to hold. And these need to be MEC. Mutually exclusive, collectively exhaustive. Basically, no overlaps between the sub-hypotheses, and together they cover all the necessary conditions. So, if the hypothesis is, say, Libranova should partner with the mark in Canada, sub-hypotheses might be, is Canada an attractive market? Is collaboration the best way in? Is DeMark a good partner? Is this the best available option overall? That MECE structure ensures you haven't missed a critical piece.
Pros and cons.
Pro, it's efficient, leverages expertise if you have a strong hunch. Con, high risk of confirmation bias if you're not careful. Best used when you're pretty confident or under extreme time pressure.
Got it. And the alternative, the issue tree.
The issue tree is different. It breaks the problem down to open, discrete questions to be analyzed rather than starting with a solution.
So it avoids that preconceived solution bias.
Exactly. It's generally more robust, better for exploring complex or ill-defined problems. Might take a bit longer, though. Both rely on that MECE principle, no gaps, no overlaps.
So, hypothesis pyramid for efficiency when you have a strong lead, issue tree for robustness when you need to explore more openly. What about frameworks? Do they fit in here?
They do. Frameworks are like prepackaged issue trees for typical problems, industry models, functional models. They can be helpful shortcuts.
But there's a catch.
Big catch. Frameworks embed assumptions. Apply one routinely or to the wrong type of problem, and it can really constrain your thinking, lead you down the wrong path. The advice is often to try multiple frameworks to see the problem from different angles. Avoid those blind spots.
Right, makes sense. Okay, so we've stated and structured. Now for the third S, solve the problem. This sounds like where the real work happens, analysis and ideation.
It is. First, the analysis side, finding and using data correctly. And oh boy, is it easy to get tripped up by data.
How so?
Well, you need the right data. Be wary of misleading stats. They mention how the Hillsborough disaster reclassification briefly made homicide rates look like they spiked. Or picking the right time frame, like how Jeff Immelt's GE tenure starting just days before 9/11 impacted perceptions.
Context matters hugely.
Hugely. And bias samples. Don't just survey your current happy customers to understand why others left. That's classic survivor bias.
Okay, so be critical about the data itself. What about assumptions? We always have to make some.
True, but make them explicit. Translate abstract numbers into something tangible. Get physical, the book says. Check for consistency, benchmark them against comparables, and crucially, test sensitivities. What happens if this assumption is wrong? How much does it change the outcome?
Stress testing your own logic.
Exactly. And just getting the numbers right, watch out for tricky percentages. Like, if something goes down 10%, it needs to go up more than 10% to get back. Use rough orders of magnitude to check if results seem plausible. If something looks weird, challenge it.
And the big one, correlation versus causation.
Oh, yeah. Just because two things move together doesn't mean one causes the other. Could be reverse causation. Maybe higher profits lead firms to adopt AI, not the other way around. Or it could be totally spurious, like divorce rates in Maine and margarine consumption famously correlating.
So you need to actually hypothesize how A causes B and try to control for other factors.
Precisely. That's the analytical rigor.
Yeah.
But solving isn't just about analysis, right?
Yeah.
Especially for those messy, human-centered problems. That's where ideation comes in, often through a design thinking path.
Ah, design thinking. So this starts with empathy.
Deep empathy.
Uh-huh.
Really understanding the problem from the user's perspective. The classic example is Doug Dietz at GE with the MRI scanners.
The scary machines for kids.
Yeah. He saw a child terrified, and it totally reframed the problem for him. Instead of just a better machine, he created the adventure series. Pirate ships, spaceships turning the scan into an adventure. That came from empathy. Observing users, immersing yourself, talking to extreme users like Sam Farber did for OXO Good Grips because of his wife's arthritis.
Okay, so you empathize, then you define.
Right. Synthesize those observations. Reframe the problem from the user's point of view. Tools like empathy maps, what users think, feel, say, do, or journey maps help here. You might end up with a point of view statement like, a young child with cancer needs to feel like they're playing during an MRI because, leading to how might we? Questions.
And those questions spark the ideate phase.
Exactly. Generate lots of ideas. Divergent thinking. Get a diverse team. Go for quantity over quality initially. Be visual. Use analogies. Ford's assembly line from slaughterhouses. F1 pit stops improving hospital handovers.
Cool analogies. What about specific technique?
Brainstorming. Brainwriting, where you write ideas down silently first. Morphological analysis, breaking down attributes and combining them in new ways. And scamper.
Scamper.
Yeah, it's an acronym. Substitute, combine, adapt, modify, put to other uses, eliminate, reverse. A checklist to spark new ideas by systematically altering existing concepts. Southwest Airlines' whole model can be seen as a result of this kind of thinking.
Okay, so you have ideas. Then you prototype.
Yep. Create tangible, quick, cheap versions of your best ideas. Think low fidelity. The McDonald brothers, using chalk outlines on a tennis court to test their kitchen layout that was a prototype.
Love that example. It's about learning quickly.
Learning quickly, managing risk, communicating the idea better than just words can. And finally, you test those prototypes.
Get them in front of real users.
Real users, real context as possible. Use feedback grids, what worked, what didn't, questions, ideas. And the key here, again, is fight confirmation bias. Listen to the critical feedback. That's where the real learning happens to refine your solution.
Okay, fantastic. Stated, structured, solved. That brings us to the final crucial S, sell the solution.
Because, as we said, being right isn't enough. You got to persuade people.
And the key tool here is the pyramid principle.
It's incredibly effective for structured communication. You start with your governing thought, the single, crisp, core message or recommendation. You're elevating your pitch, basically.
Answer first.
Answer first. Then immediately follow with your key line, a few key arguments, usually 2 to 5, that directly support that governing thought logically.
Like the Mustang Airlines example.
Exactly. Governing thought. Mustang Airlines should pass on the big Airbus order and stick with buying Boeing 737s one at a time. Key line might be, 1, buying 5 at once is too risky.
Good.
2, buying 737s is better than A320neos for us right now. Clear, logical support.
And there are different ways to structure that key line.
2 main patterns. Grouping, like the Mustang example, where the points are similar kinds of arguments collectively supporting the main idea. Good for simpler, easy sells. Or the argument pattern, often using situation complication resolution, SCR. The points build a logical narrative. Situation, here's the context. Complication, here's the problem or challenge. Resolution, here's our proposed solution, the governing thought. This can be more tactful for complex or potentially controversial recommendations.
SCR sounds useful for navigating trickier situations. What about beyond the structure, like the actual delivery?
Good point.
Yeah.
Effective communication isn't just about the slides. The book emphasizes pre-wiring meetings.
Checking beforehand.
Yeah, having informal check-ins with the key decision maker and other stakeholders. Get feedback early. Anticipate objections. Build consensus before the big formal presentation. It smooths the path immensely.
Smart. And the PowerPoint curse.
Yes. Beware letting the software dictate your story. Figure out your storyline first, maybe just in text using the pyramid structure. Then build slides. And use visuals effectively. Maybe modular reports that work as slides and handouts.
And finally, tell a story.
Yes. Start your presentation not just by reading bullet points, but with a vivid story, a concrete example, an analogy, something to grab attention, engage the audience emotionally and intellectually, and spark a real conversation.
Fantastic advice. So, wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you, the listener? Whether you're an entrepreneur or just someone wanting to solve problems better, these seem like incredibly actionable lessons.
Absolutely. I think the first big takeaway is embrace structured problem solving. Don't just react. Take the time to diagnose systematically. Use something like TOSCA to really get your head around the problem before you jump to solutions.
And second, be brutally honest about your cognitive biases, that fast thinking, that confirmation bias. Fight it consciously. Challenge your own assumptions. It takes discipline, but saves you from huge mistakes.
Third, definitely leverage diverse tools. Don't just stick to one method. Use MECE, use hypothesis pyramids or issue trees, bring in design thinking's empathy, use Scamper for ideas. There's a whole toolkit. Use it flexibly depending on the problem.
And finally, number 4, communicate with purpose. Remember, being right is only half the equation. You have to sell it. Hone that pyramid principle structure, tailor your message, pre-wire those meetings, and tell compelling stories.
Yeah, these skills are not just for fancy consultants. They are fundamental for anyone navigating complexity, making better decisions, driving innovation in any field. Applying these principles really can transform how you approach challenges.
Absolutely. Well, if you found these insights valuable and want to keep sharpening that problem-solving toolkit, make sure you subscribe to the Business Book Club for more deep dives into books that can really make a difference.
It's totally worth it.
And maybe a final thought for you to mull over. Think about a problem you're wrestling with right now. Could be work, could be personal. What would happen if you applied just one of these tools? Maybe defined it rigorously with TOSCA, structured it using MECE, or truly tried to empathize with the actors involved? How might that shift your perspective and maybe, just maybe, unlock a completely new path forward? Something to think about. We'll see you next time.
Now, that's a wrap for this episode of the Business Book Club. If you enjoyed the ride, make sure to subscribe so you'll never miss our next deep dive. Got a favorite business book you'd love us to explore? Let us know. We're always up for a good read. And hey, don't keep all these insights to yourself. Share this episode with a fellow book lover or your work buddy who's always looking to level up. Until next time, keep learning, keep growing, and we'll see you in the next episode.